Paris is building a subway the size of a small country, and it could change the way millions of people live, work, and travel. Every day, 3 million people in the Paris region waste 68 minutes on average in traffic and on the metro. For many, that's longer than lunch and dinner combined. Getting from one suburb to another means people have to go through central Paris first, which is a slow commute, and everyone is tired of it. But that's about to change. The Grand Paris Express is changing the city's entire map. 200 kilometres of new metro lines are being added. This includes 68 new stations and the promise of cutting commute times in half. It's the biggest transport project in Europe, but will it really change how Parisians live? Before we speed through Paris's newest metro lines, make sure to jump on and subscribe for exclusive updates on the world's boldest infrastructure projects. Long before the Grand Paris Express, the city spent almost 50 years arguing over whether Paris should even have its own metro. By the mid-1800s, the city was choking on traffic, but railway companies and the French government wanted to extend national rail lines underground, while Parisians fiercely insisted on a separate city-controlled network. Dozens of proposals came and went, including cable car plans, underground freight lines, and even a dramatic debate involving Victor Hugo and Gustave Eiffel over elevated versus buried tracks. The breakthrough came in the 1890s when engineer Jean-Baptiste Berlier pushed for a metro designed specifically for Paris: narrow tunnels, tight curves, and a layout that national trains couldn't use. In 1896, the city finally approved Fulgence Bienvenue's plan, and by the 1900 World's Fair, the first line opened, complete with Hector Guimard's now iconic Art Nouveau entrances. What followed was one of the fastest underground construction drives in Europe, setting the foundation for the modern network the Grand Paris Express is now reinventing. As Paris grew, so did its maze of metro lines. Bienvenue's original plan called for 10 routes forming a practical grid beneath the city. Lines 1 through 9 plus a circular loop. Line 1 and Line 4 became the backbone, running east-west and north-south through the heart of Paris, while Lines 2 and 6 curved around the city on elevated viaducts that still offer some of the best metro views today. The Nord-Sud company later added its own beautifully decorated lines, which eventually merged into today's Lines 12 and 13. By the 1920s, most of the core network was complete, and after World War II the map pushed outward into the suburbs, followed in the 1970s by the revolutionary RER system that stitched entire regions together. Paris kept modernising: rubber-tired trains, automated lines, platform screen doors, and eventually built the fully driverless Line 14 in 1998, the template for the Grand Paris Express. Paris may be famous for art, food, and romance, but not for easy commutes. The metro system was designed when the city was much smaller, and nearly everyone lived and worked inside its boundaries. Fast forward a century, and over 7 million people now live in Greater Paris, mostly outside the city limits. Yet the old system still forces commuters to pass through the crowded heart of the capital, even if they're just trying to reach the next suburb. That's why the Grand Paris Express was born, to give the suburbs their own network. 4 new, fully automated metro lines, 15, 16, 17 and 18, plus 2 major extensions. Lines 11 and 14 will finally connect the region's outer rings. Around 80% of new stations will link with existing lines, creating a web of connections never seen before. But this project isn't just about speed, it's about fairness. 42 of the new stations will sit within walking distance of neighbourhoods officially classified as disadvantaged. That means better access to jobs, schools and hospitals. Once Line 16 opens, for example, residents in Clichy-Montfermeil will have access to 11 times more job opportunities within 45 minutes. And honestly, it's about time. A region this powerful should not be held back by outdated routes. But how exactly is France building such a massive network beneath one of the world's busiest cities? Building the Grand Paris Express isn't like extending an ordinary subway. It's one of the most complex construction operations in Europe's history. Since 2016, more than 20 tunnel-boring machines, each the size of a football field, have been carving their way beneath the Paris basin. They dig through layers of limestone, clay and sand, creating space for hundreds of kilometres of track while maintaining constant pressure to avoid collapses. Line 14 became the first completed section in June 2024, stretching from Saint-Denis-Pleyel in the north to Orly Airport in the south. It links the Olympic Village, business centres, and both major airports in one continuous automated route. Next comes Line 15, the network's circular backbone, a full ring around Paris connecting hubs like La Défense, Créteil and Saint-Denis. Trips that once took nearly an hour will drop to under 20 minutes. Line 15 is planned to open in phases from 2026 through 2031. Lines 16 and 17 are the next major pieces of the Grand Paris Express to come online. Line 16 is scheduled to open between 2027 and 2028, linking communities in Seine-Saint-Denis that have historically been underserved by fast transit. Line 17 will follow in phases from 2027 to 2030, stretching all the way toward Le Bourget, Parc des Expositions, and eventually Charles de Gaulle Airport. Together, these lines will bring high-capacity, fully automated metro service to some of the fastest-growing areas around Paris, unlocking new development zones. Line 18 is another key addition to the Grand Paris Express, stretching 35 kilometres from Orly Airport to Versailles, while passing through Massy-Palaiseau, the Saclay Plateau, and Saint-Quentin-en-Yvelines. Fully automated like all the new lines, it is designed to serve one of France's most important scientific and technological hubs, the Paris-Saclay campus and its surrounding research cluster. The first section, between Massy-Palaiseau and Christ-Saclay, is scheduled to open in 2026, followed by extensions to Orly Airport in 2027 and to Versailles Chantier in 2030. Eventually, the line will be extended another 15 kilometres from Versailles to Nanterre via Rueil-Malmaison, making it the only Grand Paris Express line to reach the department of Yvelines. One of the most surprising parts of the Grand Paris Express is how much art is woven into the stations themselves. Over 70 artists were invited to work in tandems with station architects, producing site-specific pieces that are part of the architecture, not just hung on the wall. You'll find everything from monumental tile murals and sculptural lightworks to digital canvases and interactive installations that respond to movement and daylight. At some stations, the art reflects local history and identity. At others, it uses sound, light, or large LED sequences to create moments of pause and wonder during a commute. One of my favourites is the work by Portuguese artist Vils, who's known for carving faces directly into walls using drills and explosives, a raw urban style that will bring a powerful human presence to one of the new stations. The result is a metro network that doubles as a public gallery, daily life threaded through works that surprise you, celebrate communities, and make every trip feel a little more human. The Grand Paris Express is one of France's biggest public investments ever. The government first put aside 27 billion euros, but as new contracts and extensions were added, the cost kept climbing. And yes, that sounds like a lot, but what's being built is worth every cent. This project is designed to pay itself back over time. Every new metro line is expected to boost local business, create thousands of stable jobs, and make travel across the region faster and smoother. Now let's talk about what those trains will actually look like. Each line will use next-generation Alstom Metropolis trains, built for full automation. Line 15's version, the MR6V, will be made up of 6 connected cars, which will be completely driverless. They will run at speeds up to 120 km per hour, carrying nearly 1,000 passengers per trip. Lines 16 and 17 will use a lighter, 3-car model, the MR3V, while Line 18 will have the slightly narrower MRV version. Together, these trains form a fleet that's faster, quieter, and far more energy efficient than anything Paris has seen before. Fully electric traction, smooth acceleration, and low-noise design mean fewer emissions and cleaner air inside and outside the stations. But it's not just about trains moving through tunnels, it's about what grows above them. Around every new station, a new kind of city is forming. The Société de Grands Projets has already planned more than 100 neighbourhood redevelopments across Greater Paris. These will be entire communities built around green principles that include low-carbon construction, energy-efficient housing, and public spaces made for people, not cars. The environmental impact is another major expectation. When the Grand Paris Express is complete, it's projected to prevent over 11 million tonnes of carbon dioxide emissions. By 2050, that means fewer cars, cleaner air, and less noise in one of Europe's busiest regions. And there is one more sign of how far the project has already gone. In 2023, the Grand Paris Express received the Veronica Rudge Green Prize in Urban Design from Harvard University's Graduate School of Design. It is a global recognition of how the project combines infrastructure, design, and sustainability. For Paris, this award is proof that the world is watching this experiment in modern urban mobility and learning from it. The Grand Paris Express isn't just a subway. It's a vision of a city remade, where tunnels, trains, and stations connect communities, cut through centuries of congestion, and give Paris a chance to breathe again. To me, it feels like one of the rare projects that balances ambition with humanity, bold enough to inspire, thoughtful enough to serve. Do you believe a project this massive can truly change the way people live, or is it destined to face the same old urban challenges?